All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for My Hero Academia, Season 4, Episode 16.
We are in the second half. The opening is talking and showing a culture festival.
With a concert.
With a concert.
With our
Oh my
kids
god.
On
oh my god.
In a band.
Yes, just
with freaking Bakugo on the drums.
Bring in all the slice of life.
This yes. Yes, this is exactly what we wanted.
Yep, and more.
I'm so happy because that means that we'll probably have quiet, tender moments.
And
where we can have
the
really like heartfelt, emotional displays. From characters that we might not necessarily have expected to get them from, but also probably with some of our main characters as well. We had some stuff going on with villain developments. A protege of All For One directly, who is some kind of Gigantomachia
mountain-destroying monster.
Yes. Who I believe, upon reflection, was the character that was slowly being, like, kind of teased at in the Kirishima backstory. The one who was looking for the hero agency. And he was like, I'm looking for a hero agency or something or other.
Gotcha.
So that's potentially a thing. But Kurogiri was captured, which is a huge hit for the League of Villains.
That is a huge hit because as far as the person with the most utility for the League of Villains, like
he is the most dangerous.
The most dangerous, probably more than all the rest of them put together.
He was like, literally the way they were probably going to get All For One rescued. If at all.
Yeah, but exactly.
Now they're bringing up the idea of, oh yes, we're going to have culture festival and wholesome things. But meanwhile, in the background, giant mecha guy.
Which could attack the culture festival.
Could attack that.
Would be amazing.
Or he's potentially kind of the key for All For One breaking out, maybe.
Sure, yeah, because if anyone was able to just like be like, oh, you've got a high security prison.
Smash.
Yeah, my numbers are bigger than yours. Force equals mass times acceleration.
And if he has even the remotest level of like above average intelligence,
which he's been shown
to have. I think it's going to be a bit bigger of a problem than just a giant kaiju kind of thing.
Well, wait. I was going to say, but it's an island prison, type thing. It's, on the water. That just means it can actually just be a kaiju situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also he's a protege directly under All For One, which means he's the kind of person who might have been a contingency plan for, scenario, whatever.
Especially because if the heroes have their Supermax prison, then you know where you're going to go if you ever get caught, right? So it'd be pretty easy to set up a contingency of go here and wreck this place.
I also wonder if one of the things that we might be setting up just in the future here, because they have been potentially teasing this with regards to the whole X-Men thing that the story seems to be moving towards, is that we'll end up getting not just corrupt heroes, but like infiltrators and or turncoats within the heroes.
Well, and the villains have like people that can just disguise themselves too. So there's that.
Yeah. Actually, that would be a really cool thing to have during the culture festival is Toga has like a bunch of she has a bunch of people's blood that she's got in her stockpile. One or two of them gets used here. Because they did have that little bit in the OP where her school that she was in was shown.
Or was that the ED?
I don't know if that was the ED or the OP, but
either way, one of the things that it also does is that adds potential for character interactions to happen and you to question and for them to be able to go in crazy directions because it might not actually be the person saying those things or hearing those things. So
no, please don't do what I'm thinking about because I know what you're thinking about. Don't even say what you're thinking about.
The possibilities are limitless, Caleb. They're limitless.
Without further ado, y'all, let's get into this. All right, everyone, be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below and then come back here for the discussion. All right, that was a surprise.
Go. So
little gremlins come in there with dark auras.
I love the idea of them basically being like, okay, hey, we know that you guys have the quirk capabilities of fighting villains and all that stuff. But
you have the hearts of heroes.
But do you have the hearts of heroes? So we're going to
give you some villains that you literally cannot use your quirks against.
Right. Now why Kami's there?
Camille's there is because I think she did not participate in the actual course, and she also like did enough to where she would be able to be here. And I think they saw that they specifically said they didn't think you would actually be good at this.
Right. That is true. That is true. But yeah, so in this situation, we have a bunch of kids, and it's, hey, win their hearts, like, which is great. Like, that's fantastic. Now, how they're going to do it, I'm not sure, because normally if
having fun, that's probably what it's going to be.
Right. That's
making them smile and laugh.
Yep. Exactly.
It's got to be that.
And so where I'm guessing they're going with this, because Bakugo's thing of like, all right, we'll fight him, right? Like,
beat down the strongest one and be like, yeah, we're in charge now.
Boy,
we'll earn your respect.
Yeah, but one of the things that I'm thinking they might be taking this here, because I was very surprised at first. I'm like, wait, why are they? Because that's the whole, like, that's going against the whole point of this training, right?
Well, this is them messing up. This is them doing it wrong.
Well, it could be them messing up, or what it could potentially be, because they mentioned the two possibilities of if they beat the kids versus if they let the kids beat them, right?
Okay.
I
think they said let the kids shine.
Well, okay, let the kids shine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But if they do something, because there's letting the kids shine, yes, and that could go badly. But if they pair basically treating the kids seriously, because I feel like what this is that it's something where they're raging against the adults and all that stuff, right?
We're oppressed.
Yeah,
we got the adults pushing down on us.
Right. But if these people that are in a higher situation than them basically treat them like peers, that could do huge, a lot, right? Because like even in the situation of like Camille, the girls don't like her because, well, she's like, like all the boys seem to like her, and that we don't like that, right? But if it's something where, because if it's again one of those things of like sort of the oppressing, like you have something and I don't, and all that stuff, and and whatnot. So if it's something where if they actually treat everyone like, yeah, you're people too, and hey, anyways, so with the fighting, because they all have quirks, I feel like the quirks is the way that they're going to reach them, because they think their quirks are better than heroes' quirks. So that's something where it's basically a feeling of not being properly respected or acknowledged for their talents.
Yeah. So they're going to realize that their quirks are strong, and in some ways that's great, but it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter in terms of the relevancy of what's going on here. Both Bakugo and Inasa and Todoroki, and I don't know what Camille's quirk actually would be, right? But their quirks are probably ridiculously strong. And then you have also these kids who probably have also some really cool quirks as well.
Yeah.
More so that there's numbers of them. And I kind of in some ways want to see the main four here lose. I kind of want them to basically have that be a thing where Bakugo maybe in some ways lets himself be the punching bag to be like, yeah, you guys are really strong. And you can channel that strength to be great people someday. That's something I did too.
Sure.
They'll be like, oh yeah, like what'd you have to do? So yeah, treating them with respect, treating them as peers. I think that's going to be the main way to do it as well when it comes down to the very end of it. I think the way to still ingratiate themselves in the early stages of it will be to make them smile and laugh.
Yeah.
And it's basically what Inasa was trying to get at there, basically, that we need to just have fun with them, get to know them.
That was brutal when he was like, yeah, so, if you can't be nice to your teachers, then you can't be heroes. And they're like, well, but what was it exactly that the kid said?
Well, the kid basically brought up the point that because you guys made the teacher have to go through this class that's really annoying and, painful, then aren't you making trouble for the teachers as well? And he's like, oh, then yeah, you're right. Like, and they're like, wow, he's so pure and innocent that like he would actually, deal with this here. What's interesting here is that we are already told that the way the teacher has been doing things with their curriculum or what have you, independent of the UA and Shiketsu High kids here, isn't working because these are problem kids. Yep. And they're probably in the problem class because they were labeled a problem kid. Mm-hmm. One of the other things that'll probably have to be brought up is the idea that, no, you're not problem kids. Like, that's something that you might do. You might cause problems, but so do we.
Bakugo causes all kinds of problems.
We cause problems all the time,
yeah.
and yet we can still do really great things if we work together. And I see that collaboration as being something that's rather cool here. But most interesting thing this episode, very clearly, is that we have Endeavor and All Might being here. And this was something that I think was a convenient aspect of, them, happening to come into this area together. But Endeavor kind of wants to be a father in some weird ways to Todoroki here. He's doing it poorly, but you noticed in the previous bits that he was trying. He was trying to do something.
Right.
He's still doing it the Endeavor way, but when he and All Might sit together and talk, you can hear that Endeavor is in a bit over his head.
Oh yeah.
In some ways, he's how would I say this? He's trying to win the hearts of society in the same way that Inasa, Todoroki, all them are trying to win the hearts of these kids.
Yep.
And he doesn't know how to.
Right.
He's kind of approaching this as a combination of all four of them. He's like, I've got Inasa's passion. I've got Todoroki's awkwardness where I just, don't know how to connect with people. And I've got Bakugo's brashness and power.
Right.
And then I'm a pretty good looking guy. I've got I've got some raw sex appeal about me. I got the hot stinking bod. So I get people to follow me just naturally.
Right. But I don't inspire people.
But I don't inspire people. Yeah. I am not a symbol.
Right.
I might be, if anything, actually just a product of what the best things that come out of just hero society are. Not necessarily of humanity, though. When you look at the best of humanity, you look at the people who are probably the most compassionate and giving people. The people that are maybe the most selfless, the ones that give so much of themselves that you just can't, help but acknowledge what they're doing, and you go, wow,
right,
you're unreal. Endeavor, you can kind of believe him a little bit. You're like, you make sense.
Right.
You're really strong, you're driven, you're passionate, and you're ambitious, and you worked hard to get where you are.
Exactly.
But there's nothing really unique in that.
Right.
That's something that people have in different levels of magnitude.
Right, because when it comes right down to it, as strong as he is, in whatever area you're talking about, it's still something where it's only his strength.
Yeah.
The fact that their quirks are so different, I think, is a great representation of their personalities.
Sure.
All Might, with One for All, it's the strength of everyone, the strength of the people that came before him, all of that contributing, and then because of that, he's the strongest one of all, right?
Right.
Whereas in the case of Endeavor,
he's like a relatively simple quirk in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but he is stupid strong.
Yeah.
And he's so stupid strong that he became the second hero, the number 2 hero, at 20.
Yeah.
Right? That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
That's 4 or 5 years older than these kids down here.
Right,
Todoroki
exactly.
And Bakugo.
And yet it's just him.
Yep.
Right? And while he probably attracts a bunch of very hardworking heroes to him, right? Because
similar to him.
Right, similar to him, because he's the powerhouse hero. He has the hero agency that's massive and everything.
Yep.
But he doesn't reach other people.
Right.
He doesn't, he has that part slice of the bell curve, but it doesn't go into mass market, kind of appeal stuff.
One of the things that All Might represented that's very much in that mass market side of things was he very much seemed to love what he was doing. One of the things that you rarely see Endeavor doing is smiling genuinely in the moment on the job. Now, you see him moments where they're like, Endeavor, why are you here? That's one of the things that I think they've repeated a lot throughout the show. Why are you here? Why are you here?
Yep.
And he has to be like, well, that's because that's what a hero is all about.
Yeah.
And yet, people aren't being, his actions and his presence isn't necessarily proving that, so people have to ask that question. And that's maybe something that he could shift his focus towards, is having his actions be something that tell people before they ask, this is why I am here. And if they know that, it'll be a lot like All Might in a different way, because when All Might said, his classic line, everything will be okay. Why? Because I am here. He's telling them why he's here without having to tell them why he's here. He's saying, I'm here to make everything better. I'm here to make everything be okay. Can he actually do that 100% of the time? No, actually not. In some ways, we know that he can't. We have instances in the past that we've like had him talk about, or at the very least shown it, where he couldn't do everything himself.
Right.
But that was his goal. That was his ideal. Endeavor needs an ideal like that. Not necessarily the exact same thing.
Yeah. And one of the things
but something like that.
Right. And one of the things that I really liked, but it also made me curious as for how they were going to do it, is when All Might said, you need to figure out what works for you, right? You won't be the symbol of peace like I am, because you're a different person and all that, right? Totally makes sense. But with how Endeavor is as a person, he definitely doesn't seem like the kind of person that would be a symbol, really, or a good symbol, right? But maybe it's something like but where my mind went to of where maybe it could work is that All Might is the sort of the larger than life, but also friendly neighborhood hero that's like, it's all going to be okay, right?
Sure. Whereas
I feel like Endeavor might be more of like the paladin zealot that's like, I'm going to go around and smite the villains, basically. Like
sure.
Like I am like, I'm going to burn so hot, a lot of people maybe won't want to look at me, but that'll include the villains, right?
Right. The way that All Might was able to combine being a hope and a warning. I liked that dichotomy because the idea of hope is something that transcends a lot of our base reality. It's something that is a bit unquantifiable, and it's so powerful in certain circumstances that it's almost a bit spiritual.
Yes.
A warning is something different, though. A warning is basically a promise with some consequences attached to them.
Yeah.
Now, what I see potentially in that Endeavor could align himself with is that he is actually more of a beacon than a symbol.
Okay.
When All Might leaps into the fray, he laughs in some ways, proclaiming
he's already won.
His positive, the fact that his declaration of victory.
Yeah.
Endeavor literally has, heat radiating off him to the point where he probably manages his flames so that he can sit down on a stadium seat,
Yeah.
So I think that his whole thing is that everything will be put back under control.
Right. He'll burn like the sun.
Well, yes. But if you look at him, he is a contradiction. He is a fire wielder. Fire is a very destructive thing.
Yes.
It burns the environment. It specifically goes and reduces things in the environment to
ash.
A baser nature.
Yeah.
You could look at that and say, oh, he kind of looks like a villain. I personally hear the voice of the guy when he kind of enters into the stage there. He has that same thing that All Might has, but it's got this shoto, this booming thing that almost like, gives you the shivers there.
Right.
What if you had someone on a hill crested at the mountain there at the top who burned so bright that it was the promise. It was the beacons are lit,
Right.
Gondor calls. Gondor comes with aid, maybe instead in this case. And Endeavor's light will burn so bright that it will be a lonely road. He will burn in some ways a lot in his path, but people can look at that and go, okay, maybe he's less the symbol and he's more the promise. He's more that aspect of the warning, the positive aspect of it.
This is a very kind of lame sounding example because it's nothing like, the beacons and the, all that stuff. But it makes me think of those anti-mosquito torches. Where basically, you just have that constantly burning and the bad stuff just stays away.
Right.
Because it gets the whiff and it doesn't want to go near it.
Yeah.
I
think also just in terms of a moment, if we're going to get actual Endeavor character development rather than just kind of him exploring this whole concept, I think there's going to be a big moment where he turns off his flames and it's going to be for something really important. And I think that maybe what might need to be shown here is less Endeavor the hero and Endeavor the man. Endeavor the human.
Okay.
And this is something that I think All Might didn't ever really do.
Right, because he painted himself to be so larger than life.
To be like a god, almost.
Yeah. And now, because Endeavor's not.
Because Endeavor's not, I think he should lean into that.
Sure.
And this is something that might be the result of a bunch of development, but I look at this guy and I go, no, I can't really follow him.
Right.
He burns too hot, but it's indiscriminate. It doesn't seem focused. It looks like it all is centered around him. It's not centered around protecting anyone else. If I saw a guy in the same way in the pictures in the ED, where he wore the suit and he looked a little bit gruff and a little bit kind of angry, I'd be like, okay, I want to know why, but I don't immediately go and go, I can't go close to that.
If it's something where the flames is what he puts on when he goes to work kind of a thing.
Right.
Then that's something where it's like, okay, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is, unfortunately, with regards to the Hero Society and stuff, there is a lot of branding and probably marketability of just him having the brightest attire and having... You can't look away from this guy almost.
Yeah, people were aware that he came in before All Might. Like, now granted,
he stands was Imperial.
Right. Now granted, All Might is in his current form, right?
But that's true.
I would not be too surprised if, and it wouldn't have been as noticeable, granted, but if people still saw Endeavor a split second before they saw All Might, right? Because he's literally a guy that's walking around on fire. Yeah.
So that's some good discussion there. That's I'm excited to see what they're doing with Endeavor here, given that they're pairing it with this funny moment. I gotta say, this Johan purple suited looking little bastard kid, I love that he exists. I don't care about him at all, really, as a character, but it is so funny to see him as the foil to Bakugo.
Oh, yes.
Rage-induced violent tendencies, and have him being like, such an outdated, violent way of thinking. It's like... it's perfect.
It's absolutely wonderful. Like, because I feel like it's one of those. It's not quite one of those things where you love to hate the person, because I don't actually hate this kid.
Right.
But he is such a little twerp.
Also, what's great here is they are not in kindergarten, Jacob.
Right.
They're elementary school students.
Right.
So what might actually be something to bring up here is that they could be anywhere from, I don't know exactly what Japanese elementary school students, but I'm going to assume from like 6 to 11.
Right.
Now, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big age range.
Sure.
Which means that at least I would say a couple of these kids who are in the older range of things have probably had some upbringings that aren't necessarily as conducive to,
and they brought
maturation within these kids.
Oh, definitely. And they brought up Bakugo being like, well, that's how it was for me, which is important because from what we've seen up till now, we kind of figured that he would probably have something like that.
I mean, we saw his mom.
But the thing is, his mom wasn't nearly on the level of Bakugo, right?
Well, she's also older and more mature.
That is very true. That is very true.
And it's been like 15, 16 years since Bakugo was born.
But the fact that they brought up, that Bakugo specifically brought up how he was raised, and he's the most problem, children probably of everybody.
Of UA.
And we know that Todoroki had some issues with how he was raised. Then that seems like something that they could definitely go into here.
There's a connection point potentially there for at least maybe one or two of the kids, and I would love to see that as well.
Yep.
So, y'all, we're noticing some cool stuff in the OPs and EDs as we go through them.
Man.
One more thing we wanted to bring up, something that seemed rather interesting, was that, I love this Todoroki kind of family ensemble assemblage of photos, and the fact that, little Shoto is tugging on his mom's little skirt, and we have, Endeavor here looking all tall and powerful.
Yeah.
Flames off, by the way, which is quite interesting. But then we see, the Todoroki siblings, eating churros or something here.
Yep.
But
there's only two of them.
What's this? Where's the redhead? Where's the redhead kid from the backstory?
Yeah.
Then there's this burned photo here.
Yeah, below
Endeavor
and Todoroki.
I want to say it's almost. I'm not going to draw it out there. I think it's directly below Endeavor. which seems a little bit pointed.
Yep.
Well, and the fact that it is very clearly burned.
And the fact that 3 of the kids are showcased here, but not the other one, you know? Just saying.
That kid had full red hair.
And also something that I'll bring up, I mentioned earlier that Dobby had been absent from a lot of the stuff recently because he wasn't as needed, you know, because of quirks and all that stuff.
But until very recently, there was a very specific, like, Dobby, you. We are focusing on you just a little bit.
You're a main villain character. And wait, so he was out of the story for a while. That probably means he's going to come back and get some focus soon. Which, the fact that they're doing this, I mean, at this point, I would say it's like 83% confirmed.
No, I mean, we were like 98% confirmed as a joke once he bumped into Shoto at the part where they portaled out with Bakugo.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
They ended up getting Tokoyami back, but the way he was all like,
right,
you know, the way they looked at each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. And, you know, Dobby is basically a burn victim with the way his getup is. So, and, you know, Todoroki, you know, Shoto, our Todoroki, he was the youngest, so he was the, know, the one that finally hit the perfect convergence of quirks that Endeavor was looking for, where they stopped having kids. So that means that the previous ones could have been failures, and let's just say the oldest one was the worst failure.
I mean, it's possible.
It all just kind of So,
and if Todoroki's the youngest, then that also means he would have the least memory of the older ones, especially if one of them left. So, more grounds why he wouldn't recognize Dobby. You know?
God, what if it was an actual accident and stuff where, like, they've been looking for their kid and he, like, was at the hospital or something like that because he got burned and they're like, oh, it was an accident and a training thing, but then he just ran away.
Well, one other thing that they could do, so let's say he has fire, right? And he's got really good fire stuff.
Yeah.
And then Endeavor wants to train him to see if he's strong enough, right?
Right.
And what if Endeavor did that?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the easy answer.
Sure.
I almost want it to be a more complex thing than that because Endeavor has been, I would say, unjustly simplified a bit in the past.
Yeah, okay.
Especially with the way things happened with Todoroki.
What if they made it
especially because I know, but I mean, the point was, I'm trying to, just trying to bring up the fact that people assumed in some ways kind of that it was Endeavor that literally burned, where it was actually the mom because of the stress that was going on with Endeavor.
Right.
So I want that type of an answer where, yes, Endeavor is probably to blame in a lot of ways.
Right, because Endeavor's a horrible person, but at least he's hyper competent. So if he was trying to train a kid, like, he probably wouldn't make a mistake like that.
I just don't think he would ever directly abuse his kids. I just don't think he would ever directly do it in the literal burning thing way. I think he would do it in a way where he sees it as being like, no, I'm training them. But yeah, clearly to anyone else looking at it, it's abuse.
He'll punch his 5-year-old Todoroki, but fire, that
seems a bit extreme.
Yeah, they'd have to come up with some good reasons for why that was the case if it was.
But if they're building up Endeavor a little bit more, and then we're building up Dobby just a little bit. I mean, I don't see Dobby as a big character at all in the grand scheme of things. Right. But if these things tend towards the Todoroki family, and they want to give the Endeavor backstory, like to humanize him maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say about this episode, I absolutely loved how Inasa was focusing on Endeavor and how much he hated the guy, right?
Oh, okay.
You know, and then there's all these kids here, and it was just this wonderful dichotomy of the reason of why this training is important, because a lot of times the training in MHA can feel kind of arbitrary almost, you know, but in this situation,
arbitrary to what?
Arbitrary just as far as what
character development?
No, as far as just what the training actually is, right? What it's teaching them, kind of a thing. And because this is something that is strictly focused on the characterization and growing them as people, I loved having Inasa think back to that, and then also realizing that he was ignoring these kids around him because of his own internal hatred for Endeavor. So it was just this great thing in my mind because it was helping remind him that it could be possible for him to turn out like that if he let that dominate his life.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then he had to basically be like, oh, that's right, the kids, I'm here for the kids. And then he was able to try and play with them. And he put some great effort into that, even if they didn't quite receive it. But yeah,
that's true. All right, so y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see full-length timer reactions for this episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Any level support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general. There's a community there specifically for the manga people of MHA as well, and you can also talk with Jake about his sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel, in case you hadn't heard. It's pretty cool. It's called Battle Lines, and it's on Amazon in both hardback and ebook. Link in the description down below. Go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.